This is Üter. He is a German exchange student at Springfield Elementary. He likes chocolate. He likes Janie. He plays many instruments and sports. He goes on field trips with his class. He has had 2 helpings already of sloppy Jimbo. If you have seen Üter recently, please contact the German embassy. This is the history of Üter. Before we get into his chronological history, I want to be upfront about my biases. This is a very pro-Üter channel. I think this little German kid is frickin' hilarious, and after getting a flurry of votes for him in the last video, I was compelled to fast-track another Histories. In classic Simpsons, I don't think there is a single bad Üter appearance. At the same time, I couldn't think of any later season stuff with him. So I'm curious now. Did this character totally disappear after that fateful field trip? Did he ever get any more spotlight in the series? What happened to Üter? As always, let's go back to the beginning to find out. Üter is part of a very small and special group of Simpsons regulars who was first introduced in a Treehouse of Horror. In his case, in Season 5, during the Terror at 5.5 Feet segment. We see him briefly in the background, but meet him proper when Milhouse goes to sit by the foreign exchange student. Üter very cheerfully offers Milhouse some of his candy. Later, Bart ends up sitting next to him. He agrees to try some of his candy, declaring them friends now, and Üter helpfully removes his straps. It's worth noting that, unlike Janie, Üter's name is provided in his first appearance. It is also worth noting that we do not see him at the end of the segment, so I will assume that he went flying out the window. In Season 6's Lisa's Rival, we see Üter briefly playing that big horn from those Ricola commercials, which I have now learned is called an Alphorn or Alpenhorn. Later, during Diorama Rama, Üter shamefully reveals his eaten Charlie and the Chocolate Factory display. He begged them to judge his entry first. He begged them! In Lisa on Ice, Üter is part of Apu's hockey team. Homer relentlessly mocks his bosoms, chasing him through the locker room as Üter protests that he is full of chocolate. I have no idea what position Üter plays on the team. I like to think that he and Jimbo are the team's goon squad. Season 6 is definitely the golden era of Üter. David Merkin really seemed to like this kid. Or maybe he liked brutally murdering him, given how the rest of his year went. First, we have Nightmare Cafeteria from Treehouse of Horror 5. Üter's shining moment of stardom. He goes to Lunch Lady Doris for a third helping of Sloppy Jimbo, Principal Skinner notices, licks his lips, and that's all she wrote. Let's enjoy Üter Broughton at Oktoberfest. After all, isn't there a little Üter in all of us? God, this speech is so amazing. Seriously, one of my absolute favorite Principal Skinner moments. I like how Üter's most iconic joke occurs after he's been ground up into meat. Seems appropriate for this character. Then we have the field trip to Fort Springfield in the PTA disbands. The soldiers discover the kids learning for free, the kids escape to their school bus, and poor Üter just doesn't make it. Rewatching this, I had never noticed that there were a few other kids left behind, but they disappear when we see Üter running. This is another sequence that gets a huge laugh out of me every single time because of the timing of when they cut away. Because it's crystal clear, they're beating the shit out of that kid. It is such a needlessly dark fate for an aggressively harmless character like Üter. God bless the man who invented permission slips. Thankfully, it seems Üter survived his field trip as he appears again during the Oakley and Weinstein years, seasons 7 and 8. In 22 short films about Springfield, we get our first bit of Üter lore, that his father was foreman of the Dusseldorf Gum Works. In Much Ado About Nothing, Üter is happily eating candy in the hallway until Nelson confronts him, telling him to go back to Germania. Üter explains he came legally as an exchange student. Willie tries to defend him, but Skinner says the kids want to pick on someone their own size. It's worth noting, we do not see Üter again later in this episode, so I presume that he died in a suspender snapping accident. In Season 8, he is in band class playing that German accordion thing, which I have now learned is called a concertina. Anyway, we discover that Üter likes Janie, and that nobody likes Milhouse. I am really mad at those kids for slandering my dude Üter in that way. If Üter were gay, he would aim way higher than the dud. In the Mike Scully era, seasons 9 through 12, we would get only one, maybe two Üter appearances per year. First up, we have Bart Starr from season 9. In the Fit or Fat booth, poor Üter can't even do one sit-up, and Rainer Wolfcastle is getting on his case. I guess, according to the Simpsons representation, German people are super overweight, and Austrian people are super ripped. The Simpsons writers clearly seem to take the Mr. Burns stance when it comes to potentially angering the Germans. Anyway, Üter ends up as the kicker for their football team. I'm surprised they didn't put him on the offensive line, but clearly Flanders knows what he's doing. Notably, Üter only wears one shoe when he kicks, which I have now learned is a reference to how some kickers did it back in the day to find the sweet spot of the football. Interestingly though, he opts to kick it with his cleated foot. So what the hell is the point, Üter? I'm assuming that's the joke. I just had no idea that barefoot kicking was a thing before. I feel like Üter has taught us so much today. In Mayor to the Mob, he is one of the many nerds at the convention saying Guten Tag to Lisa as he goes by. Üter is a Futurama fan, of course, because Üter is the best. The following season, in Guess Who's Coming to Criticize Dinner, we get a callback to the PTA disbands. Before their field trip, Bart observes that Üter hasn't been seen since their last one, and Skinner laughs nervously. Later in the episode, he's having dinner with Üter's parents, who demand to know where their son is and just want closure. I love this little callback to the PTA disbands, even if the continuity doesn't make any sense. Either that episode happened after all of seasons 7 through 10, or they could be talking about another field trip. I'm gonna assume that Bart's bullhorn prank ended up killing him somehow. However, as always, Üter resurrects himself for later episodes. He begs Willie for more relish when they get snowed in. And he's one of Homer's daycare kids, happily hugging him at the top of the pile. My personal theory is that Üter loves Homer because he didn't cut him from the football team. When are we getting our wacky Homer-Üter B-plot, Simpsons writers? Unfortunately, when Al Jean took over in season 13, Üter's usage fell off considerably. Instead of getting one prominent role per year, he was reduced to minor visual gags and background appearances. You'll regularly see him in line for various things, or in the Springfield Elementary cafeteria. Wait a minute, is he stealing food from his friend's tray? Geez, even in the background he can't help himself. Üter continued being a target of bullying. In The President Wore Pearls, he laments that the school eliminated English for fat kids, and Jimbo chooses him for his next bullying target. In a season 16 field trip, when the kids are pulling the bus, he remarks that he feels like he's in Fitzcarraldo, to which Nelson punches him and declares that movie was flawed. Don't worry though, Üter gets the last laugh in season 24. Finally, an Üter locker room joke that isn't at his expense. In other instances, we'd see him as part of the Mutiny on the Bounty crew, stuck in a cobweb in the vents, or dressed up as the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man for Halloween. Naturally, Üter continued getting tons of food jokes thrown his way. In season 21, he's gorging on bake sale items in the treehouse before falling through the floorboards. In season 24, he's eating a giant chocolate bunny. In season 26, when Springfield Elementary is becoming a Waldorf school, Lunch Lady Doris quizzes the kids by asking a complicated math problem using the price of meat. Naturally, Üter answers this question effortlessly and is called a smart little fatso. In season 30, we see Üter's fantasy of getting into heaven involves drowning in a chocolate river. His idea of heaven also includes a chocolate river. Honestly, with how bad Üter runs on The Simpsons, I can't blame him for fantasizing about chocolate asphyxiation. The later seasons certainly kept Üter's running gag going of killing him as much as possible. Homer eats him as he transforms into the Blob. He gets eaten by the cranberry sauce monster in Thanksgiving of Horror with the other kids. Üter's body is seen in the Upside Down in their Stranger Things treehouse parody. Hashtag justice for Üter. Kearney even does his entire science fair project about a skull that might be Üter's. Pretty sure there's some funky Chrono Cross thing going on, where there's two parallel Simpsons universes depending on whether Üter died or not. According to the Simpsons wiki and assorted media, Üter's last name is Zorker, but I have never been able to find official confirmation on the show. From what I can tell, the closest we get is in Season 18's Yoko Chords, when Skinner takes attendance and calls him Zorks. Other than eating and dying, Üter has been shown to have several other interests over the years. In addition to football and hockey, he has been on the baseball and lacrosse teams. It appears Üter is one of the more athletic of the random background kids. We have seen his artistic side too. In the school's production of Casablanca, he plays Signor Ferrari, as well as one of the Nazis. Feels like the school couldn't decide whether they wanted to cast him based on his weight or his nationality. On the musical side of things, we've seen Üter in the Glee Club, we've seen him play the trumpet in Lisa's Jazz Combo, and we have seen him playing trombone in Mr. Largo's class. Geez, after talking about Janie and now Üter's multi-instrument talents, I kinda want to do a pointless study to find out which of these random-ass kids play the most number of instruments. I'm betting on Sophie Jensen. In all 30 plus years of The Simpsons, we've only seen 2 instances where Üter has the upper hand. In season 25, we find out that Willie lost the deed to his shack to him while gambling, and Üter is demanding his rent. In season 27's alternative energy demonstration, Üter's hydrogen-powered car ends up winning the race after Lisa's car stalls out at the last second. In a rare moment of misogyny, he says to stick to the liberal arts, honey, and then laughs at her with all the other boys. What the hell, Üter? After all the cheerleading and defending I've done, you get your first W and now act like this. Everyone watch out for his new podcast, Looter with Üter. I gotta say, I am pretty disappointed by the back half of Simpsons history for Üter. We had a character who was basically batting 1,000 during the first half of Simpsons history, and somehow never got on base ever again. They just ended up bringing him in when they were doing a gluttonous food joke or they needed a kid to kill off. Even more damningly, there isn't much joy to Üter's later appearances. What makes him so great is his genial, good-natured personality juxtaposed with the terrible things they do to him, and I suppose his inherently wacky character concept. I don't think anyone's going to argue that, as German representation on The Simpsons, Üter is an especially great or accurate portrayal. This kid is a German stereotype from like 3 centuries ago. Of course all German people always wear lederhosen and are much fatter than Americans. That's totally the stereotype, right guys? The Üter stereotype is like if an overseas animated show had an American kid always dressed like a cowboy and chomping on chewing gum. It becomes more of a wacky non sequitur archetype than anything. The Simpsons basically has this weird Augustus Gloop pastiche roaming their hallways, and the concept is so dumb, it's kind of amazing. So yeah, I think Üter deserved way better. This kid is so hilarious, and I wish they figured out how to have more fun with him. You gotta give Russi Taylor so much credit for bringing this character to life. Her performance definitely brought that balance of cheerful idealism and beleaguered pleading that he excels at. He's like a combination of Ralph Wiggum and Gil. I don't know if he's gonna be retired now from speaking after Ms. Taylor's passing, or whether they're going to recast. Maybe this is the kind of character that had his shining moment in the sun. Üter is like the king of season 6, which is honestly a good choice of kingdom. Let me know in the comments what you think of Üter and your favorite moments of his. Do you think they should have used this guy more, or is he simply a one-trick pony? For me, Üter is just one of those folks that is fun seeing him pop up randomly. He's just an intrinsically funny guy to have around. Also, keep those nominations coming for the next Simpsons Histories. After the last set of suggestions, I got 2 that I liked so much that you're getting 3 in a row. This is part 2 of 3 in our Springfield Elementary saga. I'm going to combine these recent batches of nominations for the one afterward, so let your voice be heard. As always, danke fürs Zuschauen.